kill me? Do you bleed?
I wanna kill her! Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. In this corner, Affleck from the DC Multiverse Snyder Cut Justice League Wave. And in this corner, Bale from the all-new DC Multiverse Dark Knight Trilogy Bane Build-A-Wave. Which Batman is the better live-action figure? Place your bets. It's time for another Versus. Starting off with the packaging, and Bale comes in an extra-wide window box. This is to accommodate build-a-pieces for Bane. On the side, we see this is Batman from the Dark Knight Trilogy. Dark Knight Trilogy logo up top. I do think it's interesting, however, that this sticker on the side says it's part of DC Gaming. And if you look at the barcode, it says the same thing. Really makes you wonder how they categorize their different figures. On the back, and everything seems to be in service to the Bane Build-A-Figure. We see him here in front of what I can only assume is the Inception set, key of all of his parts. Just look at all those hands, how to build him, and the figures that you'll need to build him. Alas and alack, I don't have the box for Affleck. It was a pretty straightforward single figure window box. A window box, I might add, that advertises a different costume on the back. That raises an interesting question. Is it better for a box to not show you what you're getting at all, or to show you the wrong thing? One of the major reasons why swaps can happen is because store employees don't know what's supposed to be in there. With that in mind, although I do prefer the big picture of Affleck on the back, and although I'd really like to see McFarlane do a better job of being able to show off both the Build-A-Figure and the figure in the box, for packaging, this round goes to Bale. Moving on to presentation, Bale stands at 7 inches, with his ears coming to just under 7 1/4. Affleck, however, stands slightly taller at 7 1/4 inches to the top of his head and just a little bit more for the ears. Going into this category, if you're concerned that I'm going to be playing favorites, I just want to alleviate your fears. I actually don't like either of these costumes. When it comes to Bale, I much prefer the Batman Begins design, and as for Affleck, I much prefer his standard look. I'm judging them based solely on the accuracy of their sculpted and painted detail. From the top, and that jaw is unmistakably Ben Affleck. Lots of different tech lines in the mask, as well as goggles, which admittedly were a divisive choice. Oddly enough, the head is a glossy black that contrasts with the neck piece. This gives the impression that the mask is 2 separate pieces, when in the movie it is in fact 1. Christian Bale's cowl, conversely, is 2 separate pieces. In the movie, the headpiece is a very tough helmet, whereas the neck has been ribbed for his pleasure. And by pleasure, I mean being able to look around to back out of the driveway. Straight on, the likeness is decent, though I don't know if it's as strong as Affleck's. The eyes, however, I will say have been very nicely painted, and despite that leaked image, are not sideways. If we're going to talk about the cowl, we might as well talk about the cape. Affleck's is very coarse and almost has a burlap-like texture, whereas Bale's is perfectly smooth. Recall that in the movie, the cape was a more parachute material, so that's actually fairly accurate, though I do think McFarlane deserves credit for the texture. Of course, we have all the scallops at the bottom, which on the Affleck suit are a bit more subdued. Moving on down, and we get to the body armor. The first thing that's very important to note about this armor is that the entire thing is over his regular black and gray costume. There should be light gray underneath all those different black straps. The utility belt should be gold, and again, light gray underneath these black and silver chaps. To bring the whole thing under budget, McFarlane decided to make the whole thing a very, very dark gray and just punctuate the silver. The big black bat symbol really helps to sell that contrast. And I will say, looking down the legs and arms, we do get a lot of silver. The toe should be gold also, by the way. That said, it does seem like they spared no expense on Bale. Similar to Affleck, the entire body is a very, very dark gray, but there are touches of black throughout to add depth. Additionally, the utility belt is a bright metallic brass. That said, I will say the waist might be a bit overly pinched. Traversing down the arm, we can see 2 rows of fins, and lots of great knitted detail underneath the armor pieces. Also, this might be one of the best jobs they've done on ankles. Very nice tread, by the way. To be honest, both figures are an amazing tapestry of sculpted detail. I really love the subtlety in Bale's boots. In George Clooney tradition, and here we have the bat butt. As for Bale, I have no idea what's going on there. Purely in terms of sculpt, both figures are near perfect representations of what we saw on screen. Really, this round comes down to paint. Bale's is simply more extensive and more screen accurate, and while McFarlane did do a decent job on this one, the lack of painted detail is felt. For presentation, this round goes to Bale.
What makes you so much better than me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads. Moving on to posability, and both figures have the same articulation scheme, so it's really going to come down to the range. Their heads are on dumbbell joints that can look up this high and down that low. Both can tilt with Affleck having the slight edge, and both can turn all the way around. Affleck can raise his arm up this high, but Bale has shoulder armor that gets in the way. As such, he can only raise his arm up this high. Both Batmen get forward and back thanks to this rotator cuff. Both have bicep swivel, with Bale being a little bit better hidden by the shoulder armor. Both of them have double jointed elbows with an absolutely incredible bend, and both have wrist balls. Moving to the middle, and once again each figure has a diaphragm joint and a dumbbell waist. Using both, they can arch back this far with Bale clearly in the lead, and they can hunch forward this far with Bale doing surprisingly good for a DC Multiverse. Both figures can tilt, but Bale clearly more so, and both can twist. Below the utility belt in both Batmen have the McFarlane hips. Affleck can kick 90 degrees and do a near perfect split. Bale can kick just under 90 degrees, but he can do a perfect split. Both figures get some twist in the hip, but Affleck clearly more so. And then traveling down the leg, both have double jointed knees with fairly comparable bends. They each have toe articulation and McFarlane ankles that can swivel, hinge, and pivot. Not gonna lie, this category is a bit of a toss-up. Bale has the better torso range, which is very important, but Affleck has better range in his arms and a greater twist in his hips, which in the absence of a thigh cut, I think might be more important. For posability, this round goes to Affleck. Moving on to playability, and in addition to a trading card to figure stand, Bale comes with not one, but 3 matching batarangs and his grapnel gun. It could use a bit of extra paint, but I'm happy to have it, and since this is a build-a-wave, he also has Bane's legs. Affleck, by contrast, has 2 weapon-holding hands, but sadly, only 1 measly batarang. Considering how much he used it in the finale, you'd think that they would have given him a grapnel gun, or maybe even a parademon rifle. Fortunately for Affleck, playability is more than just accessories. It's also about how well your figures play with others. Starting off with the Snyderverse, and Superman positively towers over both of them. But hey, they're all in black. Similarly, Wonder Woman stands pretty tall. Not to go into any spoilers, but if you haven't heard, we should be getting a new movie version of her coming out very shortly. Here we have Aquaman. No doubt we'll be getting figures of him later this year for the release of his new movie. Next up is Cyborg, whom I maintain is the best figure in the Justice League wave. Here we have Ezra Miller's Flash. And while we're on the subject of an alleged monster who holds people hostage, here we have Steppenwolf and Darkseid. While I do know that this isn't a movie figure, I do like to keep my Endless Winter John Stewart on my movie shelf, so here you go. And even though that might be the end of the Justice League, it is not the end of the DCEU. From the Suicide Squad, we have Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, and Polka Dot Man's mom. There's also Black Adam, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Sabbac, and other characters I don't have like Hawkman and Cyclone. And since neither Bale nor Affleck got their own Penguin, here we have the one from The Batman. I think he'd be pretty at home in either one of those universes. That said, if you're curious, here's the one from the Arkham City wave. In the absence of an Anne Hathaway Catwoman, here we have Zoe Kravitz from The Batman. Hopefully McFarlane does give us one. And here we have Arkham City. Speaking of video games, the Arkham Origins Deathstroke would look great with either one of these Batmen. And since Ben never got his own Scarecrow, here's the one from Arkham Knight. And just for your consideration, here we have the Mortal Kombat 11 Joker and the 3 Jokers Comedian. For just a couple of other Batmen, however, and here we have the NECA Michael Keaton, the NECA Batman Begins, a 5-inch scale Dark Knight figure by Mattel, and the DC Multiverse Robert Pattinson. I'm sure we're going to be getting a new Michael Keaton from The Flash, but hopefully the rest of the classic live-action movie Batmans are on the horizon. For a relative scale comparison, here's Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man.
My second movie beat your first movie at the box office.
I don't think this is a conversation you want to have.
Wait, you guys got your own movies?
Now I know what some of you were thinking. Where are the other Batman figures? Where are the head swaps? Fear not, that's getting its own video very, very soon. Bale has more toys, but Affleck has more friends to play with. For playability, this round goes to Affleck. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. When he first came out, Affleck retailed for $20, but now on the aftermarket averages between $35 and $40. And if you want the version with the goggles up, that's gonna go for $150 plus. Bale, by contrast, is new at retail and only $25 as part of a build-a-wave, and again comes with additional accessories, adding additional value. For price, this round goes to Bale, who wins the battle 3-2.
I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you either. What do you think you have to save me from? The one thing every Batman fears. A gun.
If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.